Gemini, this is your week ahead astrology forecast from Astrology Motivation by Born Without Boundaries. In these weekly videos, I review the major planetary aspects and transits, and I let you know how they're going to impact your natal sun and what that means for your bottom line this week. This is the week of August 3rd through the 9th, by the way, of 2023, and I'm always reading off my notes for you guys. So I'm going to start, to enjoy this video, you don't need to know anything but your birth date. That's it. I'm just going to translate everything for you. We're going to start really broad with the big stuff, like sort of the global energies right now. And then I'm going to whittle that down. I'm going to focus it down to Gemini specific information. And then I will break everything down into the 3 decans of Gemini to let you know exactly how your natal sun is going to be impacted this week. Yeah, let's go. Let's go with the big stuff. Let's do it. Let's do it. You ready? So the big stuff this week is in aspects. There's no major transits this week. Though we do have Mercury slowing down by the end of the week, it'll go into its shadow period because it will be retrograde by the 23rd of August. So you might start to feel some crazy stuff happening with, tech or communications. And the shadow period, this is true. The shadow period is worse than the retrograde itself. It just is. So if you start to feel things fritzing right now, especially you guys, because Mercury is your ruling dignitary, I would not be surprised if you're feeling it already. Just an FYI. We also have Venus in which is in retrograde as well. So we'll have Venus and Mercury in retrograde. Boo! It's a party. Gonna be fun. We're gonna have Venus in retrograde, and Venus will conjunct the sun by the end of this week, by the 9th, around the same time that Mercury conjuncts Mars. So that's some great energy right there, because at that point Mercury will have broken its opposition to Saturn. It'll be a little bit freer, get a supercharge of energy, so maybe we won't feel the shadow period that much, or mistakes and hiccups could be just exaggerated, but that's going to be really cool stuff. We have a lot of optimism in the air because Venus and Jupiter are heavily active, like they're majorly active right now, and they're benefic energies, so they're like optimistic energy. We have Venus trine to Chiron, which means sort of falling in love with the lessons that we've learned, finding peace and harmony and even grace by the blessings that came from learning the hard way, learning things the hard way. This could actually mean healing different things about our looks, or finally being able to embrace what we need to do to heal different aspects of our aesthetics as well, or just accepting our looks and appreciating beauty in a different way. And I say a different way because Venus is also square to Uranus, which it was last week, and that could be pretty mischievous energy, this sense of being attracted to something different or wanting something different because of that trine to Chiron. This tells me that it's not just I want something different, it's that I've learned from my mistakes, and maybe that's why this status quo isn't suiting me anymore. That's kind of this, I love that energy. We also have Jupiter square the sun, and it will be squaring Venus by the 9th, because remember, Venus is going to be conjunct the sun by the 9th. So that will be some stirring of the pot, if you will, when it comes to romantic optimism and sexuality. Even it's a square though, so it could challenge our sense of our ego and our sense of vanity, but at the same time, it is still going to be supercharged with positivity. And then we have a trine to Mars and Mercury by the 8th as well. So Jupiter and Mars, Jupiter is still saying it's good to take action now. It's good to do something, keep going forward, keep motivating yourself to make progress. Maybe it's not about taking action so much as it is keep motivating yourself toward progress. I don't think it's necessarily the best time right now to quickly veer off course, but I think that that's the point. It's don't veer off course. Keep plowing through, because if you have convictions, you have to stick to them now. It's going to be beautiful, beautiful results when you do. Let's get into the Gemini specific energy, shall we? So to look at Gemini specific energy, I look at Gemini itself, the zodiac sign, like what's happening in that area of our cosmos. And then I look at Mercury, the ruling dignitary of Gemini. So nothing real big is happening in Gemini this week. The moon is going to visit by the end of this week, by the 8th. By the 9th, it'll slide on into the first decan of Gemini. So it'll be basically conjuncting the natal suns of those of you in the first decan, and we'll get into that. But that's pretty much the only thing. Mercury, what's happening? It's in Virgo, which is a wonderful place for it. It gets very practical, pragmatic, and reliable. So Mercury retrograde could actually drum up a lot of interesting energy. It is going to be moving between 7 and 14 degrees, and that's how you know Mercury is slowing down, and that it's in its shadow period, because it's slowing down. Mercury moves usually when it's at full speed. It moves around 10 degrees every single week. And now it's only moving 7. So it is slowing down a little bit, which could mean that information isn't going to come in as quickly as we want it to, or things aren't going to get done as quickly as we wanted them to. Mercury is also in opposition still to Saturn through the 6th of this week, which means there could be strict restrictions on information, or a lot of loopholes that you have to go through to get it, or people actually trying to restrict speech as well. So there could be conflicts around that as well. And then we have the conjunction to Mars that happens by the end of the week. So that's really beautiful energy. It's technically going to happen, I wrote down here, the 6th. So it starts a little earlier than I thought. That's kind of supercharged energy. So as soon as Mercury comes out of that opposition to Saturn, which restrains it, and holds it back, it's going to conjunct to Mars, which is going to speed it up. That's like going from 0 to 100. Like, boosh! So all of a sudden we're going to get sort of a little supercharged. Though Mercury is in its shadow period, I think we're going to get a little boost, at least in what we think and what we believe, and maybe some communication sharing. And then Mercury is also trying to Jupiter by the 6th as well, and that will put a turbo boost in it, even though it's going shadow. So it's like turbo boosting over cobblestones. It's going to be a little rickety, and it may not move as fast. It's going to be a bumpy ride, but suddenly there's a motion. You know what I'm saying? Let's get into the decans. So if you know that your natal sun, because you have your natal chart, you know that your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Gemini. It's in the first decan of Gemini, and you are Gemini 1s. This correlates to May Geminis. So anyone born between May 22nd and say May 31st would be a Gemini 1. Definitely those of you on the Taurus cusp. Your natal suns are conjunct the moon on the 9th. So that could be a little bit more of an emotional day, but emotional kind of in a good way, where you feel content with yourself. When the sun and the moon are together, this is a great time for you to welcome newness into your life and do a lot of self-acceptance work, because it's the perfect time to welcome in that wholeness of the self. You are in a long-term square to Saturn, which is resistance and could be making you feel like you're restricted more than you want to be. It could also put you in contention with authority figures, the laws holding you back somehow. I'm not saying you're all criminals. I'm saying the rules holding you back, but teaching you. So they're holding you back only to make you stronger. That's what squares are. They're like the weights you lift to get stronger. And then you also have a quincunx to the south node and a semi-square to the north node. This means that there is a little bit of agitation when it comes to, well, where the north node is your independence, your individuality, your singularity, and the south node is now in Libra, so it's your partnerships. So there could be a little friction there when it comes to balancing that out, those two energies out, over the next couple of months for you guys, over the next 6 months about, I would say. Over the next couple of months, maybe not the whole 6 months, because it'll be a little too far out for most of you, but over the next 6 months. There could be some churning when it comes to your singularity versus your want of partnership and what that means for partnerships if you have them. Gemini 2s. So if you know that your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Gemini, you are Gemini 2s because your sun is in the second decan of Gemini. This correlates to Geminis born between June 1st and June 10th. Your natal suns are in a long-term sextile to Chiron, which means drawing inspiration from past hurts, suffering, or even trauma, and paving ways forward for yourself, finding opportunities and how to build opportunities for others because of the stuff the shit that you've been through. And then we have, but this week, there's a lot, that's long-term, right? But this week, we got a lot for you guys. So we got the sextile to the sun, which is going to supercharge your conviction and your courage and give you a lot of self-esteem and make you shine. So it is a great time to be seen, to be romantic, to follow your heart. I mean, it's going to be easier for you. And it's going to be easier for you to speak with confidence as well, right? Then we have a square to Mercury by the 5th. So that can throw a chink in the chain. Even though you're confident doesn't mean the information's coming in correctly. And because it's already in its shadow period, this could really start to grade on, stuff that you need to get done, or just interruptions in communication, online stuff not working. All that crap, you'll feel it next week. And I'm just going to let you know, it is not a great time for you to take tests or to give important speeches. Technical things, not good for you to sign a lot of contracts, none of that stuff. But I will say you'll have a lot of confidence and you will be able to shine. So you might get a lot of attention for saying something that can smack you in the butt. So just be aware of that, because your confidence and your courage with that sextile to the sun could outshine your ability to process with that square to Mercury. Just an FYI. We also have the square to Mars, which means that you could feel like more contentious. You could feel more pugilistic. The words that come out may not come out right, and they could get you into more fights, or you could be more impulsive. So this is definitely a week where you're going to have a bunch of courage, but not necessarily the elegance or the coordination to keep up with it. So it's best, even though you don't want to calm yourself down and to make your confidence ground you. Use your confidence in the way that I don't have to rush this, and I'm going to count to 10 before I send any email or do anything important. Just an FYI. And then we have Gemini 3s. So if you know your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees Gemini, you are Gemini 3s. This correlates to Gemini birthdays between June 11th and the 21st, maybe up to the 22nd if that's still you. Your natal suns have a long-term sextile to the north node and trine to the south node for the next couple of months. That will be true, say for the next almost 6 months. That will be true for you guys. So there's a lot of opportunity to harmonize and recalibrate your sense of individuality with your sense of partnership, and be able to find one with the other and be able to find oneness within the other. So this is actually a really beautiful time for you to feel really good when it comes to good and balanced partnerships and a sense of self at the same time. We also have this week we have a sextile to Venus. Dude, that is sexy. You're going to be looking so good and so fly and feeling so hot and feeling really confident and sexy. This could mean finally having the courage to talk to somebody that you didn't talk to before, because Venus is in retrograde. This could also mean opportunities that come in financially that you thought that you had missed or that had skimmed over you. So this could just be a lot of opportunity when it comes to anything of value that's coming into your life. But especially how, attractive you feel. It's a great time to date. It really is. Or to be extra sexy with your partner. And then we also have a semi-square to Jupiter. Sun semi-square Jupiter is just an extra boost of optimism and confidence, and go get it. Like I want to try new things, or I want to listen. It's a great time to be social for you guys. 100%. It's a fun, flirty, and confident time for you to be social this week. I love you guys so much. You're the best. You're the best. And I hope that you will give this video a thumbs up and then subscribe to the channel so we grow here. And then share this video so people know that astrology motivation exists. And then come on over to Born Without Boundaries Tarot for your week ahead tarot card reading. I love you guys. See you there.